Excellent. I'm glad you finished the last video. Welcome to video 3 for today, which is a new concept called codominance that we talked about very briefly in the warm-up yesterday. So on the next section of your notes, or maybe the back page at this point, I want you to put down the title, Codominance. Now we already know what dominance is, but you should probably also put down that co is a root that can mean together. So you may have heard of cooperation. Cooperation is a together operation, or an operation, something that's happening together. Your actions to cooperate require you to work together. That's what cooperating is. Codominance is similar to incomplete dominance, which we just learned about. The difference is that codominance, instead of the two alleles being blended together, or the two traits, so instead of a red and white allele sort of everywhere being a little bit in charge, this is one where both alleles are dominant in some area. So incomplete dominance, both alleles are a little bit dominant everywhere. Codominance, both alleles are completely dominant in one area or another. So that means that, and the example they used in the book were black and white chickens, so let's use that. If you have a black chicken, so an allele for black, and an allele for a white chicken, so if you see this on a test, and it says what is the recessive gene, you know there's not actually a recessive gene. They are both capital letters, and it's even easier to tell when it's typed, obviously. But both capital letters means that it's either incomplete dominance or codominance. In the case of codominance, when we have black and white, when you have the genotype, so we'll do the full genotype up here. If you have two black alleles, we have a black chicken. Two white alleles, you have a white chicken. If you have one of each allele, you don't get a gray chicken, you get a black and white chicken. It's going to be spotted, and you can see the picture in the book, which we'll throw up here. There it is. Excellent. So, we've got a black and white spotted chicken. For codominance, in a black and white spotted chicken, if I breed a black and white spotted chicken with a white chicken, I want you to show me the Punnett square for that. So that should be the next thing once we see codominance as a title and your definition and whatever notes you have so far under it. I want you to put a Punnett square of a black and white spotted chicken. So you need to know the genotype for that. You can look back in this video a couple seconds if you need to. And a completely white chicken, and I want you to blend those together in a Punnett square. What happens if we mix them? Okay, so if you finish that Punnett square, you've got a B and W genotype on one side and a W and W type on the other side, or on the top and the left side, wherever you put them. We're going to play a little game here. So what I need you to do on your paper, we're going to number underneath your Punnett square that you just did 1 through 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right? Now, I am going to either write down or say something, and I want you to write down the answer I asked for. So you can write down what I write down, but you also have to have the answer. And if you only write down what I write down, I'll know that you were listening to music in the background instead of this, all right? Or that you had your earbuds in underneath the headphones from us. But number 1, I want you to write down whether it is incomplete dominance or codominance if I mix together it's a brown horse and a white horse, and I get a pale brown horse. Is that incomplete dominance or codominance? So, horses, brown horse, pale horse, I think I just said. Mix them together, you get a pale brown horse. Or brown horse and a white horse, you get a pale brown horse. What is that? Incomplete dominance or codominance? Alright, number 2. If I mix together a white flower and a pink flower, and don't just think, oh, flowers, I know where this is going. But if I mix together a white flower and a pink flower, and we get A flower with half the petals pink and half the petals white, is that incomplete dominance or codominance? And number 3, if I have the genotype for a chicken of capital B, capital W, which allele is dominant, or which trait is dominant? And this might be a trick question, wink wink, alright? Number 4, what I want you to have down is if I mix a white chicken with a phenotype means what it looks like, with a phenotypic black chicken, so a white chicken with a black chicken, I want you, and you may need to do a Punnett square off to the side, but for number 4, I want you to write down the probability that there will be an entirely black chicken born. All black chicken. What is the probability there will be a black chicken if we mix a phenotypically white chicken with a phenotypically black chicken in an codominance mixture? And number 5, the last one, I want you to find, on this Punnett square, I'm going to put in a couple letters. I want you to figure out the parents of these children. So it's probably easiest if you copy the Punnett square down, but if you can do it in your head, I want you to find the mom chicken and the dad chicken and tell me what their genotypes are for number 5. And the last thing that we should see on the bottom of your paper is, since the word of the week is describe, I want you to describe, which again means to use details in the process, or details about what you are describing, creating a picture of, creating a story of. Just like you were telling a friend who missed class, and instead of being a jerk, you were explaining what you missed instead of laughing at them or asking where they were and why you weren't invited. I want you to write down on the bottom of your paper, and it should be probably at least 3 sentences, since it took me more than 3 sentences to explain it to you, but I want you to describe the difference between incomplete dominance and codominance. And if you write one sentence and you're like, man, that was the best sentence in the world, I never have to write another sentence, maybe write another sentence that gives an example, which would be a good way to help describe the difference between codominance and incomplete dominance. And that'll be the last thing on the 3 lecture videos for today.